I've probably done like every sport that was available in Jersey from a young age. I've been playing rugby now for about 5 years. Going back, even being part of the team again and just seeing the girls is amazing. I've got so many close friends now, and we've got so many memories together. It was really hard, but I knew that I'd be back on that pitch. It wasn't forever. When they pass your baby for the first time, like that high, I'll chase that for the rest of my life. I felt really down and low mooded. I kind of like distanced myself from the world. I had some really like horrible intrusive thoughts, which I think as a mum you get, but mine just got worse and worse. But for me, it wasn't just a day, or a day turned into a week, and then it was 2 weeks, and all of a sudden it got to 6 weeks, and it was like, well, you kind of don't know that it's happening to you. The hardest thing about it was the guilt, because it was meant to be the happiest time of my life, and it wasn't.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Jersey Rugby Club's Taye and another little special guest in Sunny. How are you doing, both of you?
Yeah, good. It's been a great experience. Honey's getting bigger, and so we're good. Yeah.
Good, good. I guess we'll take it right back where it started with you and your sport. Have you always been into sport growing up?
Yeah, I don't even remember not playing sports as a kid. And I think sport related, my parents were like, yeah, go for it. So, I've probably done like every sport that was available in Jersey from a young age. I was always really lucky that my parents really pushed me in that field and stuff. So yeah, I think doing it from such a young age, and hopefully something will do the same, has made it almost like second nature. Like couldn't even like think of a life without doing sports now.
Yeah, for sure. I think we first met, we're playing balance way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago now.
Um, when did you first join the rugby club? Obviously, that was a big part of your life now. When did that begin for you?
So back in 2018, so I've been playing rugby now for about 5 years. Um, yeah, and someone was just like, come along, give it a go. I wasn't very good at first. But yeah, after a while, I think having like the sporting background, it was almost just had to adapt a few things and kind of get more into it. And, I think the contact element was obviously a huge shock. But once you get going, I think it's kind of enjoyable in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. How good is the group as well as a whole? How many friends have you made through that sport?
Oh, so many. I think going back, even being part of the team again and just seeing the girls is amazing. I've got so many close friends now, and we've got so many memories together. And even when we go on tour together, we went to Liverpool one time, and the memories that I have with them girls like I'll treasure for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What kind of is your kind of like standout moment so far with the girls?
Oh, well, even though I wasn't a part of it, watching them win the Siam, even though I was heavily pregnant, and it was obviously very hard for me to watch, and it was so emotional. But to still be, even though I was behind, I was watching it on a live feed because I was so heavily pregnant by then. But even though just seeing the girls and watching the interviews after, and it was just like a proud moment because it'd been so long for us. Even though I wasn't part of the team, I was still there in spirit and watched them conquer something that was so big for us, was amazing. And, and and hopefully one time I'll be part of the team.
Yeah, yeah.
I am. But yeah, I think for me, that was the biggest moment for them as a team, and, and I was so proud of the girls. And yeah, so, I mean, it was very hard to watch.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions. When you were pregnant, how much did you miss playing? And how, obviously, you say it's hard to watch, but how much did you enjoy being a fan instead of a player, kind of?
It was at first, it wasn't too bad because I had morning sickness. I wasn't very well. When I started feeling a bit better, and I was just, around, but I was still up with the girls training, obviously not the contact side. And, I definitely felt like I could still play. So that it started to get a bit harder and harder. And I still went up and watched all the games. And yeah, it was so nice to watch, also let other people, change position and stuff, because we had quite a few new girls come up. And, and yeah, it was really hard, but I knew that I'd be back on that pitch. It wasn't forever, and it was only temporary. And hopefully, yeah, so less watching now, hopefully more playing.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Sonny's come into your life, you're giving birth. How amazing was that experience becoming a mum for the first time?
Yeah, it was amazing. My birth was so amazing, and I think when you fall pregnant, people will tell you all these horror stories, and you kind of go in with this fear. But I went in with it with very like headstrong, and I kind of just said it was going to be the hardest workout I'll ever do. And it was, but it was amazing, and when they pass your baby for the first time, like that high, I'll chase that for the rest of my life. It was so beautiful. It's like I couldn't stop crying. And and even when you're in the ward, you're like, oh, you have this baby now, and your life is nothing else matters. You have this little life. And yeah, it was just the best experience ever, and it was perfect. And I couldn't fault it enough. And all the staff on the maternity ward in Jersey were just so lucky. They were so amazing. And it was quite nice because Jade Knight, she's actually an ex international player. I've played with her, and we were quite good friends. And she's a midwife, so she popped in the next day and said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" So it was nice to see like a friendly face as well. And like, so it always felt like my whole experience has been so rugby based, because there's always been someone around, which is quite
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, amazing. And how's Sonny been since? So he's staring me down here, I can see.
Yeah.
How's he
He's
been
been
since?
amazing. He's like the best baby. He's so chilled, and he's starting to eat now, and he loves his food. So, well, he loves his vegetables. Some of them have been hit and miss, but yeah, he's doing so well, and he's just getting so much bigger. And it's flying, and it's like, oh, I'll go back to work soon. And at first you kind of want a bit of a routine back. I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to go back to work. And now I'm like, no, I don't want to go back.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the reason I asked you to come on today is to talk about your post about postnatal depression. Um, Firstly, for those who don't know, what explain what that is, and or people who are not properly aware.
So it's exactly the same as depression. You just get it after you've had a baby. I think, and the most commonly women get it up to between the first year of their baby's life. Um, so it's exactly the same. Obviously, you just have a child, and there's so many different symptoms to it all. But mine were more like I couldn't sleep at night, even though when Sonny was asleep. I felt really down and low mooded. I kind of like distanced myself from the world. Um, I had some really like horrible intrusive thoughts, which I think as a mom you get, but mine just got worse and worse. You normally get like a massive like down mood out of day three of having your baby, because your milk's coming through, your hormones are all over the place. Um, but for me, it wasn't just a day, or a day turned into a week, and then it was 2 weeks, and all of a sudden it got to 6 weeks, and I was like, well, you kind of don't know that it's happening to you anyway. So I was very so all over the place. But I went for my 6 week checkup and spoke to the doctor, and she was like, "You're showing quite a few signs of postnatal depression." Um, One of the other symptoms I have is my anxiety was through the roof, and I've really experienced anything like that before. Um, to the point it was boiling hot outside, and like it really should have been going out, and I wouldn't leave the house. Um, so yeah, it's so weird because you don't know what's going on. But what I thought was amazing as well that we don't really speak about is like fathers can get it just as much as mothers can. Um, but yeah, so I've done, since I have spoken about it so many times, I have done more like research about it. And and I think when after I did my post, actually a few fathers did reach out to me and said, "Oh, I actually feel like it could be happening to me," which is amazing. I could kind of be there, guide people to be like, "Oh, you should probably see someone," and because it was probably the best thing that I did.
Yeah. How hard was that for you? Like, especially when you didn't know what was going on before you did go to the doctor.
I think if anything, it was the hardest thing about it was the guilt, because it was meant to be the happiest time of my life and it wasn't, and you go from like having your life playing rugby for me, like doing everything, and all of a sudden you have this massive shock to the system. Sunny wasn't planned, so I don't even know if it maybe would have been a bit different if we had planned to have Sunny. It was a massive shock, a complete different. You go from having all the time in the world doing what you want, and you think, oh, you work a 9 to 5 job and you feel like you don't have the weekend, but you don't. You come home, you sit on the couch, spend time with your partner, to the point where my partner comes home from work, the first thing is we do like a swap over, and I start cooking dinner and he looks after Sunny for a bit, and then we have these like chores to do, so you have no break to just having all the time in the world. You can plan, you can go out, you can be spontaneous. To not being able to do that, it's a complete shock to the system. Even though it was still one of the most amazing time in my life, it was so hard to adapt and try and accept that I can't do what everyone else is doing. I can't just, go out for a drink if I want to, because I have a baby now. And it's as amazing it is, none of my other friends were doing it. So I was watching all my friends go out. My friends would still message me and contact me, but I wasn't replying, and I didn't really want to say, oh, I'm struggling, or like I don't feel right. You kind of just suffer in silence. And I think, yeah, almost it was a bit embarrassing to talk about, because you should just be happy. And I wasn't. And even like saying watching all the girls play rugby, it was so hard when it was like, even I was 6 weeks postpartum, you think everything's just going to go back to normal, and your body's got so much recovering to do. You just went through like a massive trauma, and you can't just bounce back. And I didn't just bounce back, I was very fit before. I've had a very like almost like a quite a lean body, to this body where I thought, oh my God, this is not my body, where something that's never really bothered me before, where it was just a lot harder. And I actually was saying to the girls the other day, it's easier to run around and I was running around at 32 weeks pregnant than it is now, because my hips are completely different. Like my body's, it's like it's me but in someone else's body.
Yeah. How pleased were you that you did speak out, and even privately when you did go to the doctor, how good was that support around you?
It was amazing. There's so much out there in Jersey that I didn't know about. And to be honest, I kind of heard about postpartum depression before, but to be honest, I didn't really know what it was until it happened to me. There's so much out there in Jersey, and I think it needs to be pushed more. And if people don't talk out about it like I have, people won't know they're there. That's what I found out. One of the things is I felt like I was going to these appointments, seeing people, and they were like, oh, and talking about it. And I would just say, I didn't even know this was available. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to post, because it's so important to use what we can and not to suffer in silence, suffer by yourself, And I think it actually did put a massive strain on like my relationship with my partner as well, because he had to almost help me and like deal with something that we never thought as a couple would have to deal with. So it was nice to have like almost the extra support out there as well. Like, my partner was amazing, but the extra support out there was great.
Yeah, for sure. How how important mental health in general as well now? How important is it for people like you, for people in general, just to speak up about it and not be embarrassed by it? Because it's still, as much as people want it not to be, it still is a kind of stigma and a taboo to talk about. How important is it to talk?
I think it's so important I think from me speaking out, I encourage other people to be like, oh, I experienced this, or I went through this and stuff. And I think it's just one of the things that like you're not alone, even though people don't want to talk about it, and people don't want to say, oh, I've had a bad day, or I've had a bad week or a bad month. I feel like if I didn't speak about it, some of my friends that have come back and spoken to me, like I feel like I've helped someone else.
Yeah.
So as much as it is like still it's out there, and it is being pushed so much more now. If you can just push it every day so much more, people won't suffer in silence anymore. And it just like I know that one of the reasons why I want to talk about it is that people always said that I'm such an outgoing, bubbly person, and like I don't really ever share my emotions. So I think when actually I was suffering and when I was actually at a better place, I felt like it was so important to say actually, even the happiest of people, you know, feel down and have problems with mental health. And yeah, let's get out there, let's support each other. And, you know, and once we start doing it, we can all, as a people, having that company and that support of people like friends, families, what's amazing. So yeah, you need to talk and kind of accept so you can get the help you need.
Yeah, for sure. And I think locally as well, Jersey is such a close-knit community, and I think everyone would be there for everyone if they spoke out. So how good has your support from your friends been as well?
Oh, amazing. You know, they've been like they've always had my back, and even like say like my close friends that I grew up with, and you know, they were shocked that I felt like that, and they're always checking on me, and they always like, oh, do you want me to pop round, or do you want to get out of the house or do something? I can meet you on this day. And even like the rugby girls, they've been amazing, always made me feel included still. And you know, even though that I can't really go on away games, so I've got Sunny and stuff, but you know, they've yeah, we actually all went out just the weekend gone, and it was just nice to like let my hair down and, you know, not just be Sunny's mom, have a bit of my identity back, but actually fun Taye, party Taye. Then I can be Sunny's mom, then I can be rugby Taye, and then I can be someone else's like friend. And it's nice to have that break in between, you know, how the people there to, you know, do things with and support you. It's been amazing. I'm really lucky.
Yeah, good. You've mentioned you went back to rugby training and you've been part and around the girls again. How good has that been, and has sport been in general in helping your mental health?
Amazing. I've so I go back and train once a week with the girls. And that's kind of like I say to my partner, it's kind of a bit of my break from mothering for like 2-3 hours. Um, it's so nice to see the girls as they're some of my closest friends now up there, and just to be back to normal. And then on, I take Sunny to CrossFit with me, CrossFit Valiant, which has been amazing. And Jade, Knight I mentioned before, she runs quite a lot of the birthable classes, so I get to take Sunny there and to have that break and stuff. And me and actually one of the rugby girls that I'm quite close with, Laura, we did a CrossFit competition over the weekend, and like to just do things like that. It's the break that I need, and also with the birthable classes, I can bring Sunny with me, so it's like kind of learning a new skill there. That's something I've never really done before, and I kind of got my break with rugby, and like it's nice to see just be with the girls and have a bit of a laugh. And you know, like training is like we have like a serious element, then we have a bit of like a talk after, and it's nice to see everyone and, you know, get a bit back to normal. I did play my first game, which was really hard.
Yeah,
um you know, as I said, my body was completely different. It was tiring. It was so much harder, as it was literally like I've been put in someone else's body. But I think it just a couple more months of like hard training and just like focusing on having goals, I should be hopefully back to normal.
yeah, definitely. How much would you encourage people who do suffer with mental health and to get back into sport or to start sport? How good is sport for making you releasing your emotions, kind of?
Yeah, I think for me, sports has always been a huge part of my life, and I've always played team sports. And having support of like your friends, that you meet people, and especially rugby, you almost become like a family, and you're there, and it's kind of like you have this break, you're running around, you kind of have like a almost like a break from your life. And I think for me it's been amazing. And I know um in the past other people that I know mental health picking up sports or going to the gym or actually just getting moving, having that break has really helped them too. um for me it's worked wonders. I'm like I've now started to lose weight, and you know, and trying to lose that pregnancy weight has made me feel so much better. Obviously I've still got a long way to go to where I was before, but just kind of having that motivation to go and like to be like, oh, I'm gonna have this goal, I'm gonna try and achieve this. And so the end of the season, Siam's coming up, and I'll play Siam, and you know, and that's my goal. um yeah, so for me, and I think for everyone, just have that break from your life, and you be like, right, you don't have to just be this, like, the world can be so on top of people sometimes, and to be like, right, let's put that behind you and kind of meet lovely lovely group of girls and have fun, it's nice just to not be you for them few hours or them like few minutes, and it's nice to almost to also you meet people that maybe one day you can speak to about how the way you're feeling and they can support you throughout your life because I know some of the girls that I play with have always had my back and they've always and they still are supporting me through like this time of my life and it's been amazing.
Yeah, I've met them all and they're a great bunch and a good
Yeah.
laugh as well. Um, how what was I going to say? Oh, you mentioned before about Sonny going to classes as well, and how important are those kind of classes as well as newborns and with new mums? How good is that to mingle with other new mums as well?
Yeah, I think for me, when I had Sunny, I was almost in a place where I didn't have anyone that was going through the same thing that I was. I had my really good friend Lucy. She played football and she like we clicked on very well. But you meet all these people and you almost drift towards a group of people with babies, which is really, really nice. And you have stuff in common. But it wasn't until I really properly went to the gym class that I actually had something in common with some of these women because sport's always been my life, and it's always been exercise. Going to gym's been a huge part of my life from like being as old as being as like I think maybe like 4 or 5. So then actually meeting women that have actually been like, oh, well, I play this sport or I do this or I go to this gym and stuff and having actually something else to talk to rather than just your baby, because I think you do get into this almost cycle where all you talk about is your baby and that's absolutely fine. But also it's like sometimes it's nice to just talk about yourself and talk about what you're doing this weekend but it's also great because you can talk to people about like actually oh, is this normal with my baby? Or like, did you go through this? Like, oh, my baby's teething. So it's nice to have that almost healthy balance of the both.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, and do you know what, have that break, but even though they're still there and like it's really good at CrossFit Valley and they have like Jade, Chris, and Andre, and they like, pick up the baby sometimes, and they got Emily now, and they're all great, and they're so good with the kids, and and Sunny absolutely loves Chris, which is amazing. Um, so it's nice that you can exercise, and if they start having a bit of a moan that someone else is going to pick up your baby, so you have that break, but they're still there, so you're not worried. Yeah, it's really good.
yeah. And how many fans had Sonny? He's fallen asleep. He's bored of us now.
Yeah.
How many fans has he got since he was born?
Oh, hello. Yeah, everybody literally is in love with him. So, and he's such a chill baby, which is so nice. So he's making little baby friends now, and like, we're getting invited to some like first birthday parties, which is different. So I've never been to one of them before, but yeah, it's be a great experience.
Yeah, great. Final question. What would your message be to anyone suffering from mental health and also to anyone who knows someone suffering from mental health, how they could help?
I think sometimes I think there's loads of things out there that we don't know about. So if you're feeling down or you're feeling like you need to speak to someone, if you go on the Gov website, if you type in mental health, there's actually loads of things you can sign like yourself up for, like self-referral to. I think that would be a great place to start. And if you can't, I think sometimes people feel like they can't speak to their friends and family. And sometimes it's best to talk to someone you don't really know about these situations. That would probably be a good advice for me. And also, if you feel like you can reach out to your friends and family, I think that's a good place to start. Um, I know that I didn't. I went straight to the doctor and was like, "Is this normal?" And she said, "You could be suffering from this." And then I went on to speak to loads of other people. And yeah, that's the kind of way that I went about it. And then I eventually opened up to my partner because I felt like it was it was taking a toll on our relationship because I found it very hard to, be happy all the time. He'd be a full day at work and I'd come home and I'd be stressed. Um, so yeah, so when I did open up to my partner, I feel like it's when his support was amazing. So that was good. And if anyone has like reached out to your friends, I think exact same advice, just have a little look what's out there for them. And encourage them. I mean, if they want to try something new, encourage them to come up to do something that you do, or if it's within sports. I mean, we welcome new girls all the time to rugby, and it's really nice to get new players and learn new skills. And also then you have people that like you can kind of, you don't really know, you can speak to through what like makes you feel comfortable. And also you have a social element to it. Like we go for breakfast sometimes, we go out for like drinks sometimes. So we have like the balance. If you don't want to do the whole drinking going out, you could like come out for breakfast, come watch the games. We have like lunch after the game, which is nice. So I think it's just finding someone that you can speak to and then go on from there. And I think once you make that first step to speaking to someone, if that's a friend and family or a professional, that's a step in the right direction. And you just want to really just accept and almost make yourself vulnerable by talking about it, where it starts to get better.
Yeah, amazing advice. Thank you for coming on and speaking to us so openly. Thank you to Sonny as well for behaving.
I know. I was like, I hope he behaves.
Oh, morning. No, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking so openly about such an important topic.
Amazing. Anytime, hey.
Yeah, brilliant. That was Sportscast Jersey with Taye and Sonny. A new episode of Sportscast Jersey is coming soon.